So, hey Gemini, my name is Chris, and this is your beautiful reading for whenever you find it. It's not time specific in the sense that it's kind of whenever you find it, but it's whenever you find it in 2026, and there we go already. You're jumping to the finish line. There's the World card and there's the Jolly Good Fellow. Looks really as if you're jumping to that, what is it? I don't know, triumph, playfulness, finishing something, leaving something behind, crossing the finish line. All your worries. And then there's the Justice card. So you might have been through a time where you have a lot on your plate, where you're just trying to think of the perfect solution for all these things that are going on. Job related, family related, this related, that related. And that is, of course, you can overthink about that. You can, lose sleep over it. But in the Nine of Swords, I always see a person who deeply cares, right? This is a wrong use of your mind when you try to solve problems that you cannot solve. You have to be discerning between things that you can change and things that you cannot change. One thing, and that is a very hard lesson, that we cannot change is other people. So by all means, take responsibility for what you can do. But you know what? If you know what you can do and you're willing to take responsibility for it, you do that during the day, and then you had a good day, and then you can sleep. Then you don't need to worry about it. If you just do what you can with what you've got, where you are, you fall asleep eventually, right? There might be still a lot of things going on in your head, but if you consequently concentrate on what you can do with what you've got, where you are right here, right now, factoring in this truth, that uncomfortable truth that you cannot change other people. Very important. There's justice, right? There's a lot of responsibility. Nine of Swords guy is this energy of a person who deeply cares. And for that deep care, there is the Justice sign. Wow, wow, wow. There's the sun and the moon. That's a beautiful combination. Subconsciousness and waking consciousness as a couple. Beautiful. So let's just finish this train of thought here. Responsible person, kind of tendency to overthink, worry too much, especially about things that you cannot change, including other people. We cannot change other people. Very important. Exclamation mark, so to speak. There is the Justice card, and maybe things are going to be better soon, right? Maybe you're going to have some effect for all of your efforts. Closing something. There's the World card. Maybe you just stop caring about the things that you cannot change. And then there's this free flow of energy here in the center between the Sun and the Moon card. We're coming back to this because this is really special here. Then we got the beautiful Empress, the Empress showing up again and again and again. And I'm not going to lie here, maybe there are 2 or 3 readings, the last few that I did, where the Empress did not show up, but in all the others, the Empress shows up. In the yearly readings, in the summer readings as well, and now here too. So, Gemini, that's your reading. Just had to look, not that I messed this up. There is the beautiful all 4 queens rolled into one Empress. What does the Empress do? She's resting within herself. She knows her own circle of responsibility. She's not crying or caring. She's not caring, as hard as that sounds, about things that you cannot change. And there's some consequence in here, right? You're choosing for playfulness instead of over responsibility for things that are not belonging in your own circle of responsibility, if that makes sense. Repeat that again. I'm just saying it a little easier, right? So you're opting, I see you're opting for a little more playfulness because you deserve playfulness, you deserve joy in your life. And what the Empress is not doing, she's not jumping down into the mud with the pigs. Seven of Wands is this energy where you uphold your principle, but where you uphold your frequency. Right? Not guilt, fear, shame, not anger, not rage, not externalization, not, worrying about stuff that you cannot change. That's useless. That's basically wasting your energy. Upholding your principle, that also means taking responsibility, and taking responsibility not just for the external, not just for your family, not just for your job, but for yourself as well. Realizing the importance of playfulness in your life. Easy playfulness. No outcome. It's not a means to an end. It's an end in itself, right? Do more of that because you need that for your own mental health, for your own physical health, for your joy in your life. And that is your divine right? You have a divine right to be happy, to live a joyful life, to do what you love. Nine of Cups with the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles, there's the Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, so you get something out of it. This Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups, they are resonating with each other, doing what makes sense to you, doing what you love to do, doing what comes natural to you. Not trying to impress somebody, not trying to check boxes, not trying to prove a point or make the most money you can possibly make. Usually these high-paying jobs are high-paying for a reason, because usually you have to sell your soul for them, or some aspect of yourself. You're no longer doing this. Why? Because you're realizing you can't save the world, you can only save yourself. That's a hard lesson. Boundaries to other people's problems. You're not solving the problems of other people. You're not solving problems of world politics. You're doing the best what you can where you are with what you've got right here, right now. That is inner mastership. This is taking joyful, happy creation, taking meditation and breathwork, as I always say, just as serious as a workout, or just as serious as your job, or just as serious as what you do for other people. You deserve that. So I had to sneeze, I cut that out. So where was I? The Nine of Pentacles, yeah, taking care of yourself, realizing that you're a divine creature of God or Brahman or whatever, unity consciousness. You're an expression of that oneness, of that divine principle as well. So, when Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself, he didn't mean one side or the other. He didn't mean, love thy neighbor as thyself, but, be really shitty to yourself. That's the Christian interpretation. The narcissistic interpretation is exactly the opposite. I just love myself, like my neighbor, yeah, sure, whatever, but it's all about me. So that one-sidedness is the problem, not, love thy neighbor as thyself. Trust in other people. If they take care of themselves, if they are good to themselves, if they focus on their circle of responsibility, if they take care of their own BS, of their lives, you don't need to take care of their lives. They are responsible grown adults. They have an obligation to do that themselves. So you don't worry about stuff that you cannot change. That sometimes also applies for world politics. By all means, vote. By all means, be politically active, right? Do the right thing on a daily basis. That is much more important than worrying about stuff that you rarely can change. Unless you can, right? Unless you organize in a political party, in a group, whatever, then do that. But then there's no need to worry about world politics while you should sleep. Then organize. Then you have a day full ahead of organization, meeting other people, doing something about it, taking responsibility. And part of taking responsibility, love thy neighbor as thyself, that's both and, not either or, right? Subconscious, conscious. Being responsible, but being also playful, resting within yourself. You know, when was the last time you were feeling completely zen about just having a cup of tea for an hour or two and just looking out of the window? You know, that's your freaking divine right to do that without feeling guilty, right? Doing what you love should be the aim for the next 20 years. Authenticity, integrity, doing something that really is an expression of your highest potential. That's the subconscious energy. That's the subconscious inspiration. And whenever it can flow into your waking doing consciousness, there's the sun coming, there's the Empress. This combination of the Four of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is definitively this energy where you do what you love. Divine, humble, proud. You're not wearing a crown, but you're well dressed. You got, this wooden bench, but doesn't matter. You got fancy clothes, nice clothes. You're not a king. You're not on a throne. You're not wearing a crown. But you don't need that because you're happy with what you're doing, happy about your talents, happy with what you're doing. And then there's the Four of Pentacles as the couple, so to speak, the other side of this. The Four of Cups, the Four of Pentacles is this energy, pretty much the devil you know. This might be an old career. This might be what you have achieved so far. And what you have achieved so far probably goes back quite a while, either the last 9 or 10 years, most likely since 2008, because 2008, that was when Pluto was in Capricorn. I'm saying this again and again because it's so freaking important in 2026, because we're no longer in Capricorn. Pluto is no longer in Capricorn, it's in Aquarius. That's Pluto in Aquarius. Joyful creation, loving what you do, flow states, right? This is practicality. This is, I have to check some boxes. Maybe this is, I have to work a shitty job with shitty people to pay off my student debt. Maybe this is, right, doing what looks good on paper, doing what looks good on my CV, making this and that compromise, holding very, there is these Four Pentacles that this guy earned. That was not easy to get, right? Especially since 2008, where pretty much everything was going against decent human beings and their honest efforts to build something for them. That was a very dark and hard time to build something for yourself. Yet you built something for yourself. And you're very proud of that. And with that pride comes a deep egoic identification sometimes. And naturally, you're holding on to that. I'm not saying you should leave that behind, but you have to loosen your grip on what you have achieved so far so that your hands become free to do what you love. And you can actually do both. You can keep these Four Pentacles, but you're not complete, There's need for security, there's need for expression, speaking your truth, even your voice is shaking. That's the throat chakra. And there's the third eye chakra, connection to other people. Stability, feeling the feeling of belonging. That's the solar plexus chakra that is missing here in the Four of Pentacles. Speaking your truth unapologetically, connecting with other people. And there is your joy, right? Creative expression, throat chakra, connecting spiritually with other people and feeling like you belong in a community. That's connected to this joyful expression. And then if both of these come together, you're not losing what you built for yourself. You're just transforming it and opening it up so you can be a little more joyful and playful and enjoy this inner mastership that you've built over the years. Do not jump down into the mud with the pigs. That's what I always say when I see the 7 of Wands. That also means, I say this again, not crucifying yourself about things that you cannot change, including other people, whether you want to hear it or not. It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's an important lesson to learn. You cannot change other people. They are responsible for their life. You're responsible for your life. Not losing the connection to your subconsciousness. I'm actually putting this here between the Sun and the Moon card. That's what I always recommend. It's a daily practice to live like that, to live in authenticity, to live in responsibility, and to actually truly not neglecting your divine, humble right and your need to be joyful and playful and doing what you love. That's an art form. That's a lot of, opposing aspects to balance out. So it's a constant balancing act. And the practice for that is meditation and breathwork. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel there's a lot of negativity, overthinking energies, then do breathwork, negative breathing, 10 seconds in, 20 seconds out, 7 seconds in, 14 seconds out, 8 seconds in. Write it down in the comments. You get the idea. The out breath should be 2 times that of the in breath. That's how you release negativity, and then combine that with meditation. And you got this channel open between subconsciousness and waking consciousness. And that's where all the magic happens. There's the Sun card as well, that marriage between practicality and joyfulness. By all means, be smart about it. By all means, protect what you have achieved so far, what you worked for. But allow it to transform. Maybe you take a break from that because you need to set it down for a moment to get into that mode. And then you can pick it up again if you stabilize this, right? That's the winning combo clarified by the Sun card. The Chariot, as if the Knight of Wands wasn't fast enough, there's the Chariot clarifying it. Playfulness, joyfulness, joyful creation. You're almost there in justice. That's how I put it here. 9 of Swords, 10 of Wands, and the Justice card. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say you cannot change other people, but letting that go, right? You cannot force something to succeed. If there's a resistance to what you're doing and you did everything right, yet there is a big resistance to it, and you lay awake at night, 9 of Swords energy, and you think, how can I get through this? Why is there so much resistance? I'm doing everything right. I'm checking all the boxes. I'm doubling down on my efforts. Why am I getting nowhere? Because the universe is probably telling you, you're missing something. And what you might have missed for quite a long time, because I see the Knight of Wands finishing this and the Chariot, joyfulness, playfulness, happiness. You deserve that. The High Priestess and the Empress, and there's the 7 of Wands. Bottom of the deck, 6 of Pentacles. The universe is trying to give you something back, but you have to accept it. Joyful creation. Okay. Okay, there's this movie, Don't Look Up. right? And there's this character, she's named Kate DiBiase, I think, in the movie. I don't know the actress name. And she says in that movie, as that character, the truth is way more depressing. They are not even smart enough to be as evil as we give them credit for. This goes to the Nine of Swords, because this might be the magnitude of problems that your mind circles around. Maybe that's the reason why you can't sleep, because you encountered people who are not even smart enough to be as evil as we give them credit for. Maybe you made your experiences with such people. We call them narcissists, right, for now. They can't change. You can't change that. If you give them more, they just, if you give them the little finger, they bite off your hand. It's never enough, right? Learn everything you can about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. You're going to learn a few things here on this channel as well, because I'm sprinkling that in every episode and every time I do a reading, because I've come from narcissistic abuse. Maybe you're coming from that same experience. And especially if it was someone very close to you, it takes a while to accept that people can, they're malignant narcissists, and they kind of, smash you right in the face, right? And then they're covert narcissists, and these are the real evil ones, because they sugarcoat everything. They wrap you in, sugar cones, so to speak. You think they are the sweetest people ever, until they're not. Until the mask slips and they just rip your heart out, right? If you have experience with that takes a while to heal. That takes a while to accept. Radical acceptance, very important. Remember not to hate these people, because hatred is a very dense and destructive frequency to be in. Take care of your consciousness. You have a right to feel what you feel, but don't stay in lower frequencies too long. And always remember, the form of evil is one-sidedness. So evil is not a form. Evil is not these people, that religion. These are all forms. They are all contingent, and they are misleading and illusory. So forms are misleading. It's not about the forms. It's not about DNA or education, all that, what these, whatever. Let's not go too deep into this, but it's not about the form. It's about function. It's what they do, not how they look or how they appear to be, how they present themselves. They're very good in making good people do bad things. So don't be one of these people who fall for the outer form. Evil is a function. Let's just see. That's the second quote, and the third one maybe. If you look outside, you're dreaming. If you look inside, you're awakening. What do you see when you look inside? What do you see when you sit there for half an hour meditating? You're being confronted with the inner core of yourself, with your consciousness, with the state of your consciousness, with the state of your body, with the state of your thoughts, with the state of your feelings. That's what meditation is for. You're making connection firstly to your subconsciousness, to everything that you shove down there. And when you look into it, you automatically, if you're not running away, if you're not distracting yourself, but if you're sitting with it, you allow it to come up and be healed and be resolved and be taken care of responsibly. That's the practice, right? But if you look outside, if you project these inner conflicts and inner shadow aspects, onto other people, these people, that people. That's an evasion. That's not going to solve anything but create more destruction and more darkness in the world. So joyful creation. Remember, that's what it's all about. This reading is about, you will receive and explore justice the moment you allow yourself to be happy again. I just say it like it is. What I hear, what I get, I don't know. Let's just keep it as I said it. Allow yourself to be happy again. A night on Earth, magical new beginning. This card symbolizes the start of something new. A magical experience unfolds to allow you to move forward safely and with confidence. The path is clear and nothing can stop you now except your own negative thoughts. Let go of any old way of thinking. Let go of any old ways of thinking and trust your future will not be the same as the past. Life is full of possibilities. Believe and it shall be so. Inside you there's a knowing that embraces all knowledge. Live through this knowing and life will seem like an endless blessing. You deserve to be and have all that your heart desires. Keep your face always towards the sunshine and shadows will fall behind you. Walt Whitman. And to be at that place where you finally say, I deserve this, right? I take it, I accept it, I deserve it. Bam, there it is. And even if it is very small, you don't need to be grandiose. You don't need to be, you don't need external recognition. Sometimes it's just arriving at yourself and being yourself enough, right? Transformation, that's the butterfly spirit, number 11. Let's just see, do we read this? Let's read it. So, joy and the beautiful lightness of being alive and creative in the world is the focus when butterfly spirit flutters before you. Joy and the beautiful lightness of being alive and creative in the world is the focus when butterfly spirit flutters before you. Transformation is inevitable as you grow into your most beautiful, empowered self. Indeed, you will go through some uncomfortable stages as you let go of the forms of your life that no longer fit the new you. Let go of the forms that no longer fit you. And you don't give anything up of your achievements, You still got that degree, you still got that education, you still got those skills, but you're not holding on so tightly that you forget to be playful, be joyful, and create something that is really an expression of your inner core. Coming to that is a big transformation, 2026, my friend. Check out the yearly reading, check out the summer reading as well, Sun, Moon, Rising, if you want the full picture. Even relationships must go through this shift to match your new energy in an emerging self. If you focus on the beauty and not the challenges, stop taking yourself too serious and choose to be playful. Loving and joyous, you will soon know the miracle your soul wants to experience through you. Today is a day of joy, so alight to look around and see the beauty that is everywhere and in everyone, including you. Might have taken you a while to get there. Certainly I took my time to get there. But in 2026, I'm arriving at this, and hopefully you are as well. And if you do, share, like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And hopefully see you next time. Now, goodbye, my friend.